So, hey, Robert, nice to meet you today, and thank you for attending the podcast. I appreciate your time.
I'm really honored to be here. Thanks for having me, Greg.
Yeah, and I believe you told me in the pre that you're up in Sacramento in your trailer and in your command center by the looks of things.
Yes, sir. I'm in a 39-foot diesel pusher tour bus that's got slides and the whole nine, and I move around and I've got Starlink and a lot of screens, a lot of going on in here. I've got a server. I'm trying to train a local language model. Siri runs everything in here. It's a whole lot of fun. And I really got tired of paying $4,000 a month for a house that everything I fixed, somebody else later was going to benefit from. There was no permanent to it. So I took a smaller slice of the pie that was mine, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm moving around and seeing beautiful things, working and staring into the Grand Canyon and all kinds of stuff. It's not a permanent thing. It's something I'll grow out of, but for right now, it's where I'm at.
Oh, that's exciting. So, tell us a little bit about who you are and your business and your background and kind of why you got into what you're doing. I'm assuming this is somewhat new to you, so just give us a little bit of a background.
Actually, it's not new to me. I grew up with a keyboard in my lap. My father has a company that does missile contract work for the government, and they had a big warehouse behind it, and then they've been doing Hellfire missile work for 30 years. And every time I'd go down there with my dad, I'd get stuck in the back with the guy named James. I'll never forget him. He taught me how to use the 3.5 and 5.25 inch floppy disks and how to boot up programs and DOS I've been really lucky because the age I was born and the way computers have evolved has been like right at my pace. It's been when I was kind of young and not really knowing what was going on, so were they. And when I got to my teenage years, they kind of got to MacBooks and their early laptops and things like that, and then it jumps here, and I I lost a lot of experience because of what happened with AI, but I also gained a lot. Um, if you understand the AI situation and you can be honest with yourself as a person that works in the computer repair industry, everything that you've done your entire life is obsolete. It just kids can do it by asking ChatGPT or Claude, and it's it's a different ball game now. So when the reset hit and then the bubble started and everybody started on YouTube just going hard every time something drops, it's ChatGPT is the new awesome, crushes this insane. They use all the trigger words to try to draw people into the videos, and then they give these language model new briefings, and that's just the way of it now. You just have to stay up to date with it. You have to watch the abilities of what comes out. You have to look at at how it lands and how it's developed. Um, the thing I sent you before is kind of my is my explanation to my father really, but there is no best language model for anything. There's only the language model, and it's very similar to a golf club. It has a specific use at a specific time when you need a specific distance and a specific angle. But it's not good at the other angles. It's not, you don't want to use your driver to putt, you don't want to use your putter to drive. Every one of them has a specific kind of niche it's in. And if you watch the scoring and you watch the things that one's better than the other in, you can really optimize your flow using things like Open Router, where you can access all of them with your API and put them in your workflow. That's really
Oh,
where I'm
no,
at with it.
yeah, that's interesting. So, I mean, if you take that now and what have you transitioned and translated that into a business? What's your customer profile? What are you offering customers? I did look at your website and I saw you've got some offerings that are bucketed together, but just maybe highlight what it is that you're offering customers.
The truth is, I'm offering customers websites like mine, but the services on my website are kind of redundant in a lot of ways because we don't really like to sell people services. We like to go discover their exact pains because the tools are so surgical now that you can just ask them what's wrong, where are you having trouble, what could you automate to save yourself time. Time equals money in this equation. What are you wasting a lot of time on? And then we build them something and very specific. Sometimes they take the service packages off the website afterwards. That's kind of what that is. But we really like to get in with each individual client and dig into what their problems are and make exact solutions. And it's turned the game into that. It's not fitting them into your box anymore. It's taking your tools over there and asking them what they need. And um, I've noticed that it's not hard to find business owners that are 40 plus years old that are scared to death of what's going on with AI and just want an honest person to sit down with them and tell them the world's not coming to an end. There's none of this is really a horrible situation for you. It's just you know those emails that you're tired of sending out all the time. We can just make something to do that now and go that route. It's not all super complicated stuff. It's really just basic business setup in the new generation. And if you're willing to talk with people and you're willing to be honest with people and not try to price gouge them like crazy, then you can be very successful with a business like mine. We've done very
Yeah.
well. We started out in real estate acquisitions. We did 91 million in mobile home and RV parks, skip tracing and stuff. My background is I was on Matt Cox, um, and my computer skills have definitely they've benefited me and they've hurt me in my life. I'll say that much. And coming from the situation I came from into this with a real strong drive and a real hunger for what I was doing is studying and it's made me able to do the studying, watch the YouTube videos. There's no way around sacrificing that time. That time is what puts you ahead now. Everybody started at the same point like a foot race and it reset. And when it reset, everybody started over and now it's everybody's on their own pace. And if you stay up to date with the information that's available, it's you can really kind of translate it into small business needs very easily. It's you see something come out and it's like, hey, this can automate newsletters. It's not hard to figure out how to work that in. Hey, this can automate social media posting and create tone specific content that will hit a specific target at a specific time. And we can automate that. Every business out there wants that. They are trying to figure out a way to do that one way or the other. You can throw a rock and hit three people that need that service.
Yeah, I mean, so that's, I mean, again, I appreciate the interesting comment. So how are you using that then to be able to attract customers? So automating email outreach, or how are you attracting customers?
Word of mouth, it goes viral on you when you help one. You never had. I've not finished a job and not had anything to do in quite a while. There's always somebody. The last person I did something for is rushing with a friend or somebody else is calling. I'm really good in lead gen and I've got guys that are calling for me doing corporate size deals, but on regular day to day normal small business owners, if you help 10 of them, it'll just go viral on you. Even if you have to kind of take a lower bid just to get in the door, just to get yourself some work history, so to speak, or credentials, get something behind you, because everybody is just looking for somebody to reassure them and say, hey, everything's all right. So word of
Yeah,
mouth
we're
for
just
real.
so you're technically providing big giant hugs to people and say, hey, it's gonna be okay. I got some things I can help you with.
Yeah, but it's kind of climbed uphill all the way to like United Healthcare and larger companies that it just it snowballs. You keep picking up clients. The biggest thing is to set yourself up with the month to month, get a subscription going so you can continue to, hold residuals. Building websites like I do, which I guess I haven't explained. I build CRM hybrids. I build onboard CRM that I've been building CRMs and cleaning CRMs for companies for 3 years, and I've cleaned HubSpots and Salesforce and so many other things, and nobody ever uses any of it. They get in there and they use the same basic flow to try to just do simple things. They're not trying to go and do, and I swear nobody ever uses that stuff. There are people that do, but for the most part, companies buy subscriptions, they pay for tools they're never going to use because they got upsold, and they're just sitting there paying for basically a glorified contact book so they can keep track of their customers and figure out who spent what. You don't need all that money to do that. You can look when you're building with builders like Replit and Cursor like we are, you can add those things in and build dynamic CRMs, and then the forms on your website will feed into them and collect your data. And then we put conversational AI agents on the page. I don't know if you saw my TED when you were on my page,
Oh,
but
you did?
we
Yes, I did.
uh, that actually has an MCP server connected to it that's connected with the tools for the entire site. So it can go look up data, it can take your data and store it in the CRM. It's not just a helpless repeating um, informational robot. They're very functional. MCP gives them the ability. You can literally just in a build say, "Hey, I want a tool that does this, and I want MCP access, and I want to build my own server." Claude will build a server for you. It's all in using the AI. The AI will do
Wow.
all the work, all the heavy lifting if you just learn how to ask. The language of AI is prompting, and everyone needs to learn prompting if you want to be able to do it. Prompting is the most important part. It's the language all of them speak. So prompting is
Yeah.
definitely the key to it.
No, interesting. And it sounds so. Taking that, it sounds, if I'm understanding it correctly, too, is you don't serve a particular niche. You literally can help any small business that is having challenges or whatever it is. It doesn't matter whether they're a real estate company or an IT consulting company, right? You across the board.
Absolutely. And we've had
Okay.
all I've got a paint company, I've got a stain and seal company, I've got an insurance broker, I've got an insurance brokerage school, I've got a real estate company in Orlando, all the way across the board, it's all lead generation. If you can figure out how to group and Appify, I got Appify actors that I've built and for each client. And when they have one of my CRMs, I can literally just turn on leads for them and they can pay the cost. It's all just a straight automated flow. And of course, that's another month to month service with, service upgrades and things like that. So if you're planning on doing this kind of thing as a business instead of doing it for your business, I would recommend beyond anything else, not spending time at the builder, wasting your day doing things that you don't know if anybody's ever going to use. Spend that time going through Google, put in any kind of business you can think of, pull up the Google My Business for those, click on their website, and if their website looks like 1986, call them. You can usually get through from there. I'd say
Yeah.
turnover rate on leads just doing that is probably 6 out of 10 second appointment.
Wow.
People
That's
want
wow. That's
upgrades.
Yeah, good statistics. That's a good return. So, and it, you and I chatted before the podcast, and we had a pre-call and stuff like that. And I, I sort of know where this is going to go, but I'm also, like, what is a typical day look like for you? Or is there anything such as a typical day for you?
There is no such thing as a typical day. I'm really dedicated right now to put, I took on an extra business, a fireproof paint that was introduced by, it's been government use for years. So I've kind of got more on my plate than I can handle, and then everybody continues to come and ask for more solutions, and I love it. I do not do anything but go from this chair to that bed and back to this chair, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's money. It's fair money that I don't feel guilty about. I provide a value to someone that matters a lot to them, and they pay me for that value. And it's kind of self-gratifying to do that, when you know your work is not scamming somebody, and you're watching these old folks that were scared and intimidated, and now they're running around using Claude, and they all have a personal assistant on their phones, and it's gratifying. It really is. So I do
Yeah,
some of it for that as well.
I could see that. That makes sense. So maybe then asking the question for yourself is if you're spending that much time and understanding you're loving it, but I'm also know people want quality of life and stuff like that. What's your objective? Is it to get to a point where you can work 4 hours a day, or you that's not even on the horizon for you?
Well, first of all, my father is very successful. Very, very. His Bristol Development Group, Franklin, Tennessee, and they do 3 or 4 projects a year that are $200-300 million projects, and real estate, condo development, apartment development. And I'm the oldest, and there's, I've always tried to chase my dad, so, but I think that's kind of natural. Everybody wants to outstep their dad or do better than their father. But damn, I got a big shadow. But I'm definitely chasing it. As you know, my history, I've, I've already spent a lot of time being non-productive. So spending this time being productive is not as, it doesn't feel like work to me. It feels
Just
like more of a where I'm supposed to be type, personal type situation.
yeah,
A
there's
lot of
that age-old
motivation.
adage, right? Love what you do, and it's not called a job. So there you go.
Yeah, you'll
And then
never
you
work a
and
day
you
again.
adding a monetary value to it, which makes it even better. Um, so I mean, with the speed at which things are evolving and changing, right? And I think in a year ago or 2 years ago, you'd ask people, "Hey, where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years?" I think you kind of get to the point now where you're like, "Where do you want to be in 6 months?" Is even seems far out there, 6 to 12 months. But like, with your ideal situation, like, what does your life look like in 6 to 12 months from now?
I've got a number that I want on a month-to-month basis on my subscriptions, and I'm working on that. And then, obviously exceeding that because it's a fluctuating thing. People cancel services and add services, and I want to get that stable. And that's one of the reasons I do the best business I can with everybody up front, is because I want them to stay and I want them to be comfortable in the end. I don't want them to grab it and go and want to get away because they're angry. That's the main focus, is building the portfolio of customers that my partner, he's my he Matt calls himself my assistant, but he's not. I couldn't do it without Matt. He's in the Philippines, and we intersect for about 5 or 6 hours a day, but we always have somebody awake at the company. He's 14 hours ahead. So we put everybody in Google Chat, and anybody that has any issues that's not going to our website and leaving an email. We know we leave people in a customer support Google Chat with us. And so at any time of the day, they can drop something in there. And if I don't get it, Matt will get it. And we fix problems quickly. And that's it. There's no super magic to it. I hate to tell you that there's no great sauce. The sauce is really customer service. It's not the crazy computer stuff. I read this book by a guy named Harvey McKay. It was called How to Swim with the Sharks and Not Be Eaten. And he inherited or bought a white envelope company. And then it was like, if there's any business that is completely hard stopped in technology and advancement, it's the white envelope business. The white envelope is not going to advance. It's going to be pretty much what it is. And so he knew there wasn't a way to strategically make the product differently to outdo his competition. So he just focused on customer support. He wrote a 66 question survey, the McKay 66, and it focused on building a rapport with the clients, finding out when their anniversaries were, finding out when their birthdays were, sending them cards and things like that. If you think in this AI world that that's anything obsolete, you are badly mistaken. You have to service the people just as much as you have to service the computer, if not more. So
Yeah,
learning how to
that's
build that
interesting.
rapport. Go ahead.
That's
I'm
because I
sorry.
was gonna ask. I was gonna ask you that question, and I think you've answered it as far as just words of wisdom and customer retention. It sounds like you guys have the model. It's be on all the time, be responsive, be attentive, and if you do those things, good things will
Far more
happen.
important than the tools. The tools
Hmm.
is a matter of sitting down, and even if you're not even good at it, you can do it. There's YouTube. You just sit down and you can literally take a set of problems from a introductory meeting or email, and you can take that transcript and those problems, and you can feed it to a large language model that you have a project trained in to pull out your pains. You tell your large language model project to use Sandler sales method funnel ideology and leave it at that. And it'll pull pains, and then in the middle, it'll do the technical data, and at the bottom, it'll do resolutions and ROI on how the yellow affects the red. And you can pull it right out of the conversation that you have with somebody, and the LLM will strategize it for you. The LLM will turn around and print you out an action item list and things you need to do, and you can literally follow down that list. Hey, I need to do this for these people, and they have this set of problems. Can you please help me with an action item list for how to put together a campaign to resolve all these things using AI? And what you will get, you can turn and feed to another model, or you can feed back to that one in a different project and start getting the pieces that you need and giving them to the builder. And the builder will take the pieces from the language model and it will populate where you need to go with it. So there's no professionals in this. No matter what anybody tells you, it's only 2 years old. Nobody has a lifelong experience. If they do, they're still in diapers. So, like, there's no, it's
Yeah,
all in
no,
what you
so
learn today.
and I appreciate that it's solid business perspective. So in the last couple of minutes we have, and I almost want to say this, and I say it with respect and in no other way. I feel like your business approach and the CEO that you are is somewhat non-traditional, and that's okay. Everybody's going to do it a different way. But if you were to give people advice that were starting out a business, what are your top two things that say, do this and do this, it'll help your success?
Organize a CRM and listen to your clients. That would be my two things. If I was limited to two, organize a CRM and listen to your clients. Do not build things. It is a bad business model to walk around trying to find the square peg to fit in your square hole when everybody's got round pegs. It's a hard business model. You build a tool. Now you got to go find somebody that has that problem. Play with the tools, become confident in your ability to learn. If you're not confident in your ability to do a step of it, learn. Go to YouTube, watch 5 videos, and knock that step out, and build yourself. First we make it work, then we make it pretty. That's the motto at Fusion Data Company. First we make it work, then we make it pretty, and we turn over an 80% product to them, and we say, hey, this is the direction we're headed. What do you see? And before we go to all the trouble of building out all the connections and everything, hit them with a mock-up. Let them see what your ideas are, and listen to what they have to say. Make the changes that suit them, and you will never lose. Bring people what they ask for, and you will never lose. Be smart
No,
enough
I
to
think
listen to what they're asking for.
that is very sound advice, and this was a very interesting conversation. I appreciate your perspective. I appreciate your take on the world. I appreciate your ingenuity and all of those things, and really appreciate you taking time on a Friday. I know it's a long weekend, but it sounds like you may not be a long weekend kind of person. So on a Friday afternoon, taking time to talk to us and just sharing your experiences and stuff. And I'm looking forward to getting this out so that other people can see it as well.
I really appreciate you having me, man. I'm
Uh,
working on doing of my own. I'm working on getting a podcast of my own up, and then um,
yeah.
all these interviews is great. I really appreciate the experience, and appreciate you having me here. I'm sorry if it wasn't as AI crazy as you expected.
No, I wasn't expecting that at all, Luis. There are lots of different things. It's about business, business acumen. It's about customer retention. It's about just, being out there in the world. And then how are you leveraging AI, which you touched all along. So I wish you the best and hope you have a wonderful weekend. And again, thanks so much for attending.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thank you.